We're going to continue this discussion on China's poverty alleviation and rural revitalization with our panel of guests. Yan Liang comes back to us from Willamette University along with Ryan Patel over at the Claremont Graduate University. Welcome back, you guys. Yan, let me talk to you about this because this has been well documented that China has done a remarkable job lifting hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. That said, yes, it's an achievement, but the work is really never done. There's more work to always do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Kun mentioned earlier that even though the absolute poverty has been eradicated, which is people who live below about $1.6 per day, that's gone. But still, we still have the relative poverty, and we still have the wide income disparity between rural and urban residents. Now stood at about 2.63 back in 2019. So there's still a lot more work to do. Not to mention to prevent those who are out of poverty from slipping back into poverty. So as the #1 central document has articulated, they will continue to modernize agriculture. They're going to continue to build rural areas and also continue to improve the lives of farmers. So there are a series of concrete policies such as developing the rural infrastructure, both in terms of roads and bridges, but also the digital infrastructure. And also the emphasis is to continue to support rural industries and employments, as well as continue to provide some of the very basic social services like compulsory education, healthcare, as well as safe housing. So all these are very important to sustain that achievement of poverty eradication.
Right. I mean, look, there is no question that lives have improved, right? And that's how I translate poverty alleviation is your life better today than it was yesterday? And the answer is yes. But Ryan, when you think about the high-tech development, China faces an issue that every country faces. There will always be rich and poor and a gap between the have and have-nots. The question is how best to close that gap. What policies or issues does China need to address, I suppose, in 2023 to get to that goal?
Yeah, and I think it's when you see many countries, and including China, you've got these great initiatives that you start, which feel it's very hard to do in the first place to start it. So once you start it, how do you keep continuing to make those initiatives and make those impacts and evolve because there's more people going into those initiatives? So one thing that I think is the educational realm. You mentioned the high tech, right? When you do increase and get people out of poverty, how can you get them to be a working member of the economic class or in the place, if it's agriculture or if it's in tech? Can you give them a path? Can you create a path? And that's where the difficult part is. You need to have more programs and policies in place to make that transition easier to help, China's domestic economy to where each member of all kinds of, wherever you are on the spectrum on the income, that you're actually making the impact wherever you go. And I think that's going to be key for China here is, can you create the next generation of workers across different industries in a place that you can give them resources, because it is difficult, right? Where depending on where you live and how much money you make, you may not have those resources. And I think there's an opportunity there for China to be able to create a path that can be helpful and beneficial for everybody involved.
Yeah, and then there's the tricky question of inflation and the cost of living. That's for another time. Ryan, Yan, appreciate it as always.